Here we go then, guys. We're in for another episode of the Fighting Chance podcast. So I've got a special guest today, keeping in with the Liverpool theme. Now, this chap is known for his absolute blistering pace on the pitch. He was a good player for Liverpool. I don't think he gets enough credit as he's deserved. A lot of players didn't realise this, a lot of fans didn't realise this, but he's scored in every single final that he's appeared in for the club. I believe it might be for any final he's appeared in, actually. But without further ado, I introduce Djibril Cisse. Djibril, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, and you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Really good. So just kick it off straight away. Tell me about yourself, kind of how you started off from your football career, how you got into football, really.
To be honest, football was a must. I had to do it. You know, my dad was an international football player. My brother played in the first division in France and have a few caps for Ivory Coast. So you know, it's a family business.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You was into sprinting as well, weren't you? Is that where you got your sprint training from in the first place?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, all of the family members were all fast in the family, but I wanted to to master my way of running, to win, to be even faster, and to know how to run properly, and to make the difference on the pitch. So I went on the track and field. I liked it, and I learned how to run and how sprinters run, and he helped me a lot.
Oh, that's interesting. So you actually done it to complement your game rather than something that was on the side. It was for a specific purpose.
Yeah. It was. I was young. I was 14. So I went to the club, and I worked with a guy that used to do decathlon. So he used to, there's one of the topic of decathlon. It's sprint. So and in Auxerre, something that Giroud was really clever and in advance. We had an ex 100 meters runner, and he used to come in the club once a week to to give you the basics and to give us some tips to be even faster and to run better.
Nice. Well, listen, I don't think there's many that are faster than you on the pitch, so it obviously paid off. I mean, so looking back at when you first started into football, then going in your first time in an academy, just remind the fans who are listening now. So where you started your academy career?
I started in Arles. It was my childhood. That's where I'm born. That's where I started football. It was an amateur club. Then I went to a professional club, which is Nîmes Olympique. They played in first division at the time. My brother was playing for them, my big brother, and that's where really the academy started. It was in Nîmes, but I don't want to forget Arles, because it was an amateur club, but my love for football and my passion for football started there. But the real academy, it was in Nîmes.
Sure. So where did you play in your academy days? Because I don't think it's probably a bit different to how they are now. I know they're not so heavy on putting players in positions, but because you were naturally quick, and then you developed your sprint training as well. Did you always play somewhere at the top, whether it was up front or on the wing?
Yeah. I was always up front. I was, in my head, I was a number 9, old-fashioned number 9. Jean-Pierre Papin kind of number 9, like really, like proper striker.
Sure.
And I always played on up front. Sometimes I was on the right side, but really, really rarely. But it happened to me to play on the wing, but I was really up front.
Sure. So did you meet any, I mean, looking at the players now who kind of made it, did you play with any of them in a youth academy setting, or did you not really meet the bigger players until you were older?
Yeah. When I was 16, 17 until the under 23, I played a few times against Ronaldo, a few times against Adriano, a few times against Mika Essien. Who else I played? Some Spanish guys that became European champions and stuff. We went through the ranks together, and it happened to me to. I played against Saviola in the under-20 World Cup in Argentina. Adriano was there. Like I said, Michael Essien. A lot of big guys now, So it was cool.
Did you play with these players and you knew straight away they were going to make it?
Well, yeah, you can see the. No, I played in my team. We had Philippe Mexes. That he became one of the best defender I played with. To be honest, and it was. You can see the difference between the guys that you by seeing them, they're gonna make it. And
Sure.
You can see the difference.
Yeah. Did you say Felipe Mexes?
Yeah,
So,
Felipe Mexes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he was the one that scored the most outrageous bicycle kick I've ever seen in my life.
I agree. That was when he was playing for Roma.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in pre-season or something like this in Japan or something somewhere abroad.
Yeah.
I think it was a corner kick, and he bicycled it, and for me it's one of the best goals I ever seen.
Yeah, I think between that and Zlatan, I mean, Ibrahimovic was pretty good, but I mean, bearing in mind how far he was out, that adds to it. But you had defenders, you had the goalkeeper that was pretty much on his line. Like it was just sensational. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's mad.
And Zlatan is a striker, so you can say, okay, you know how to score goals.
Of course,
but Philippe is a centre back. It's credit to him.
So breaking into your very first debut for your first team, then in sort of men's football, as it were, or in the actual first team, what was it like making your first debut?
Well, it was amazing because it wasn't planned at all. I signed my contract 2 weeks before. Then I was in the reserve team, doing my training session as normal. And the assistant first team coach came to the training ground and told me to leave the reserve and to come with the pro, because they played a little game and one of the strikers got injured. So it was only to make the number. So I had to go there. And lucky for me, I played I think 45 minutes and I scored 2 or 3 goals. And so I went back to the reserve. For me it was just a one-off. And at the end of the training, he called me and he said, "Yeah, you need to come back the next day. You're coming back with us." And that was the Thursday. So I went there, and for me it was another one, but I wasn't really ready to be on the team. So I did an amazing training session again, and they told me, "You're coming back on the day after this." So that was a Friday, and that was the day before the game. So I was like, "Yeah, it's cool, but I don't think I'm gonna make the squad," because it was 16 at the time in the squad, and we were like more than 20. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be on the one who's gonna go back to the reserve." And for me it was normal, because that was where I used to play. So it wasn't I wasn't disappointed if the boss told me you have to go back with the reserve. So the day of the training of the game, sorry, the manager said everybody's coming with us in a hotel, to prepare the game in the camp. And we were 20 players, so we know that 4 players have to go, and it was 3 keepers. So it was 1 keeper out, so we knew, and 3 players. So I was like, for sure it's me, because I'm the youngest, and I'm just a fresh professional, so I'm not in the squad. And that's my big surprise. I stayed on the group, and that was against Paris. It was March 20th, if I'm not wrong, in 1999. So yeah, that was
what a surreal feeling.
my
I
first
mean,
game.
there's probably a big jump, isn't there, between reserve football and first team football. I don't think people realise. I mean, it's not just the ability. I mean, you've got loads of different things. For instance, like you look at a stadium, I can imagine the first team football, the crowds are much more packed in a tight knit stadium than what it would be for a reserve game, for instance.
Yeah. Well, it's totally different. You know, the pace, you play against man. You know, I was a young boy playing against young boys, and all of a sudden I play against guys that play regular national team. I played with Givarch. He was world champion. So you know, it's not, you can't compare. You know, it's like it's not the same football.
Yeah.
You know, in the reserve you can make mistake, and you know, with your speed or with my speed, I could you know, catch my mistakes. But you know, with the big boys, they got experience. They know how to put the body. You know, not to let you pass. You know, they have experience that you don't have, and of course it was a big difference. So I played only one game in this year, then 8 on the next season. Then I became on the first 11. But yeah, it was it's totally different.
Sure. So do you still remember your first goal?
Yeah, of course. It was against Metz. Good goal, nice goal, to be honest. And I scored on the Wednesday, because that was on the Saturday. But on the Wednesday we played in European Cup. Used to be Intertoto, the name was, and I scored against Wolfsburg. So it was a great week for me.
Sure. So at what point then did you think that you'd made it as a professional footballer? I mean, I know you signed the contract. Was that the point, or did it take a bit of time to sink in?
No, to be honest, you know, the to sign the contract in Auxerre, you know, it's you have to realize that you're nearly there, because you know, Auxerre, it's one of the best academy in France. They released a lot of, you know, great players, international players, Cantona, Laurent Blanc, Basile Boli. I forgot a lot of them, and yeah, if you signed a professional contract in this kind of academy, you know, that means you're not too bad, and you have a chance to, if you work and if you're serious and if you're dedicated to, you know, to your football and ready to suffer and to work, you know, you have a great chance. So
of course,
to be honest, you know, when they offered me the contract, I was like, yeah, you're nearly there. You're not arrived yet, but there's something to do.
Of course, yeah. And you went on to have a pretty good career of Auxerre, and then the big boys start calling. Liverpool come through. Were they? How did that come about? Was that sort of your first choice, or was there other options and you chose Liverpool, or did you turn down other people and then Liverpool came afterwards? What happened?
Yeah, well, I spent 3 seasons in Auxerre, scored 70 goal in 100 and something games. So I had a lot of teams knocking at the door. To be honest, I was thinking, and you know, I wasn't sure which club I wanted to go. For sure, I wanted to go to England. That was my you know, my dream, because Thierry Henry was the man at the time.
Of course, yeah.
It was the guy that, you know, everybody you know, was after, and everybody was looking. So I was like, yeah, you know, I've got the speed, so I think I can, you know, I can make something in England. But I wasn't sure about which club, and the relationship between Giroud and Gérard Houllier, you know, made the things easier, and I was really you know, secure in my head to go to Liverpool, because it's, you know, this relationship, and I know that the two guys wouldn't let me down and wouldn't let me do something stupid, and they will look. I know that Gérard Houllier was you know, ready to look after me and to help me to be a great player.
Of course, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, Houllier was relieved of his duties shortly after,
Exactly.
which is obviously a big disappointment for you. Do you wish that you'd had that chance to have a bit more time with Houllier? Do you think you'd have played differently or performed differently under Houllier?
Well, to be honest, I'll never know. But I was really grateful for for him to take me to Liverpool, to choose me, to give me the chance to play European football, to give me the chance to play with Steven Gerrard, with Michael Owen at the time, with Didier Amann, with amazing players. And yeah, when they called me and told me the news that Gerrard was been sacked, I was really disappointed because I wanted to give back to him what he's done for me. And yeah, I was a little disappointed, but my career had to start, and I had to keep working and to keep improving my football in my career. So it was a little disappointed. I was disappointed, but he couldn't stop me, and yeah, I decided to carry on, and to I would never forget what he's done for me. Yeah.
How was it then? So coming into Liverpool, it's not the easiest accent to understand, is it? And
Yeah.
especially when you've got people like Jamie Carragher in the team. Did you struggle to start with?
Exactly. Yeah, I wasn't really speaking English, because something that we have to know, it's my last season in Auxerre. My contract was already signed for Liverpool, so my last season in Auxerre, I was already not a Liverpool player, but everybody knew I was going to Liverpool. So I started English lessons. I went a few times to Liverpool to check my house, and I wanted to arrive in Liverpool and to be settled, not to be in a hotel and, don't know where to live. I wanted to be ready and focus just on my football when I arrived in Liverpool. So I started English lessons. It wasn't that the same English that I learned. So yeah, it was difficult, but when you don't really need to speak, when you play football. Sometimes, yeah, Kara and Stevie G shout at you when you don't do what they want you to do, but you learn quite quick. So
sure. So listen, your secret's safe with us. Did you ever cuss any of the officials in French, knowing that they couldn't understand you?
yeah, of course. That's your natural language. Comes out, and it's, yeah, of course. And even now my English is decent, and if I go back to England and somebody piss me off, I'm gonna speak French to him.
Just because I can't understand, it's funny. Listen, I think your English is better than mine. you do fantastic. Well, you've done great. So on the Liverpool theme then, so I think most would agree that if we take out Steven Gerrard for the equation, because I think if we said who's the best player we played with at Liverpool, it probably would be Gerrard. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if we take Stevie out of the equation, who would you say was probably the most technically gifted in the team?
Technically, Luis Garcia was not bad, really. In terms of passing ability, Xabi Alonso was something. Didier Amann. To be honest, we all had our strong point, and yeah, that's made us a team, and that's what we were, a real team.
So we'll come through then onto your the first of two leg breaks. Was it your left leg you done first?
Yeah.
What goes through your head? Because we had, I mean, from the outside in, especially as someone my age, so I think I was either 12 or 13 when you'd done it. So we obviously get all the tabloids from the news, and we hear different things, and there's a lot of talk about you potentially losing your leg. I mean, because back then, I mean, what was it, 15 years ago roughly? It's not really a long time ago, and you think about how far medicine's developed since then. I mean, 15 years ago, you're talking about completely ending your career, as if that happened now, you're probably back within a year. So at that time, thinking, my career's over. I might even not even have a leg. I mean, what goes through your head?
Well, to be honest, it wasn't. I
Apart from
wasn't
pain.
thinking. I wasn't thinking this way. I was like, when it happened, because it was my first injury. I never had injury in really like small things, like really small
Just little niggles,
muscle
yeah.
problems, or maybe a little ankle, but nothing major. I was like, yeah, well, I think there's something is not right. I think
The understatement of the century, that.
yeah, I think that's that's not really the case. But I was like, okay, something wrong. Wait for the doc. I was in pain. I think I'm sure you remember my face and me shouting like on the pitch. The doc came and well, he told me my leg is broken, and yeah, straight away I went into recovery mode and into, it happens. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna come back. And but really, like when I say straight away, it's like 2 hours, after this, when I was when my mind was clear, and when I knew that my leg is broken. Okay, the season is ended, which is not at the end. And I was like, okay, just let's get ready to work. Let's get ready to do whatever I have to do, and try to come back before the end. But that's what I was saying to the press and to the people around me. But in my head, I'm not even lying. You can ask the doc if you have Dr. Waller one day on this podcast. You can ask him what I told him. I told him I'm gonna go in Ibiza on holidays. Why Ibiza? Don't ask me. And I will come back before the end of the season. I will play again. That's what I told him.
You proved him right as well, didn't you?
Exactly.
Right.
When your mind, I know that's another topic of the podcast, but the mind, is the things you can achieve when you're ready and when you're on the right state of mind. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big insight into the athlete's mindset, really. I mean, you guys this is why you're the best of the best. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't be as good as you are without having some sort of mental strength. I mean, I know, take nothing away from the guys, I know that they suffer with mental health just as anyone else, and my heart bleeds for them, and I hope they get all the support that they need. But that initial point just to get where they are, that mental strength to get through injuries and to get through different bits and pieces. But I just think yours specifically, because it was so bad for the time of the injury that you had. And I mean, I don't know if you ever, it's probably a bit different now than what it was back then, but I don't know if you ever had the chance to read the tabloids or if you guys were told to actively stay away from them. But it was like everything was just saying career's over, career's over, career's over. And that seemed like that was all that was constantly thrust in your face.
I know. I wasn't really paying attention, but it was so bad, and that things coming to you. You don't want to hear, but it's my family, my friends, the federation, like the like really important people calling you and wishing you the best. So information come to you. And yeah, I heard that he's lucky if he walk again. He's lucky if if he have a normal life. So yeah, I heard things like this, but in my head I was like, okay, that's me who decide. I'm not gonna let people decide for me, and let's see what happened. But if I'm ready, knowing me, I knew that I would come back.
Sure, and that's the just on the last point on that. That's what we really want to hang up on, is that you did it yourself. Like, you got through. I mean, of course, you had the rehab staff, and you had the people that had the specialty to help you. But in your head, it was you. Like, you got through that, and you didn't have any other help.
Exactly. That's what I say to I'm coaching the strikers of Marseille now, from 16 to the reserve, and a lot of guys ask me, your how do you do when you don't score? How do you put your mind into it and try to come back and try to get back to the scoring sheet? And when you're injured, how you manage to come back? And I was like, it's you. It's you decide. Like, you can have the best stuff, you can have the best treatment, but if you decide not to wake up, if you decide not to go to treatment, if you decide not to give your 100% on the exercise that you've been given, that's you can have the best equipment, but if you don't use it, it's here for nothing.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, you can have all the support, my family, my kids, my mom, my dad, my brothers, they were all here. But at the end of the day, I had to wake up, I had to go to the physio, I had to be in pain sometimes and tell to myself, that's fine, tomorrow you'll be fine. That's you. It's you and you. And the support you have, it's extra. That's good to have support, but you're the one who decide where you want to go.
Sure. So we're there then, the Champions League final. I mean, we've talked about this before. I know that you thought that you should have started that game.
No. To be honest, I didn't. My journey was too beautiful for me to expect anything more. I was already lucky to come back to play a few games before the Champions League. I was on form. I was well. I was feeling good. I scored a few goals before the final. But I remember Rafa said, I don't know which striker is going to score, which striker is going to play. But the last game against, I think it was home against West Ham, I scored 2 goals. And, I good in this game, he's going to play the final. So, I scored 2 goals. I played a good game. And I remember Carragher coming to me after my second goal or my first goal, grabbing me by the neck and say, "Oh, you're gonna play the final. You're gonna play the final." I remember this like it was yesterday. So in my head, I was ready for everything. To be honest, I was okay. You have a good chance. You played a good game. The final is soon. You have a chance to be in the starting 11. But when Rafa decided not to put me, I wasn't into like depression mode. I was like, yeah, okay, you're not in the squad, but the game is long. Be focused. You're here. It's a blessing because you were, barely walking a few months ago. So it's a blessing. So don't be disappointed and do what you have to do.
Sure. I mean, that AC Milan team was something else, wasn't it? I mean, looking back at it now, I don't think you can look at it and say you look at it from a defeatist attitude, because you made the final. Like, no one can take that away from you. You beat some good teams, but you could beat a very, very strong Juventus team over 2 legs. But they were very, very strong as well. I think they only conceded a handful of goals over the whole tournament. But even looking at that team, you've got to think, God, we've got to work out here.
Yeah, it was frightening team. They were like the best in the world in every position. Cafu, tell me better. Stam, Maldini, Dida, Pirlo, Kaká, Inzaghi. Like who was better at the time? Like no one. So I was like, yeah, it's a good team, but talent don't do everything. Talent helps, but the heart win games.
Of course, yeah.
And we had the heart, they had the talent.
Sure, yeah, and I totally agree with that. I mean, look, it's a well-known story now. Everyone knows what happened at the end, from 3-0 down to 3-3, and I think it's been documented a few times about what's happened in the change room as well. But I mean, with you being on the bench, like, what if you sat there at half-time and thought, I could have changed this game, or I could have done differently, or does that not go through your head?
No. To be honest, no. I was like, get ready to help the team, like not think about what Milan, Barros done right or wrong, or what Stevie did right or wrong, or what Luis did right or wrong. I was like more get ready to help the team because I knew I could do something with more time, but I was like, I'm here, even if it's 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, halftime. Get ready. So I wasn't really into the mood, and it's not me. I'm not like this. When I'm not a part of a team, if I'm on the bench, I'm not, looking at what the guy who played in my position did wrong. It's not me. I'm not this kind of guy.
Sure. And obviously your first final for Liverpool. I mean, not from open play, but in my book, you still scored. You put that penalty away, and you put it away emphatically. And do you know what? I don't want to discredit you, but from me as a defender, you've done exactly what I do. Don't aim like you probably aim slightly. I don't know. Like I'm not a professional footballer. I don't know, but for me, I'd have just run up and hit it as hard as I could and just hope for the best. And you hit that ball hard as well.
To be honest, I normally go for power, like really power. But I was like, it's a Champions League final. Try to do it better than normal. So I went for my right side, and Dida went the other way. But there's something you need to know. Dida is huge. He's a huge goalkeeper.
He massive.
He take a lot of space in the goal, and the only way to score is to send him the wrong way, and it's what I managed to do, and I was like, job done.
Yeah, listen, he proved that with Risse's saves. If people discredit Risse's penalty, like that was bottom bins, like that was right in the corner.
That's exactly what I'm saying. When I say to people, when people told me, "Oh, Risse missed," I said, "No, Dida saved it. It's not a miss. It's a really good penalty." And I think you take 10 goalkeepers, I think that's the only one who can save it, to be honest, because he went down well to save it. So
yeah, and you find that with some keepers, don't you? They're absolutely enormous, but they just the bottom corners, they don't get down fast enough. But he was just like he was a cat, wasn't he?
He was a really good goalkeeper for his size, for his corpulence. He was like really he could move like really well.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll come on to your we'll go to the FA Cup actually. So again, finding yourselves in a difficult position, being 2-0 down, and then Stevie pulled an absolute worldie of an assist out for you. But listen, take nothing away from that finish. That was a difficult finish, and it looked like your standing foot gave way from you as well as you was kicking it.
Yeah, well, this time I knew I was starting the game, but what I didn't know it was I'm gonna start on the left wing. So that was a surprise for me when Rafa told me I start on the left. When he explained me why, I understood. He put me on Scaloni's side to use my speed, and Anton Ferdinand to use my speed. So I was like, okay, I understand. But the thing is, I had never played left wing, so I had to really adapt my runs, to the fact that I'm on the left side, and I'm right-footed. So the runs, they're not really the same as even if I'm on the right side. You don't run the same, so you have to adapt the way you run to be on your right foot when the ball arrives.
Yeah.
So, but on the other side, when you have Xavi Alonso, Luis Garcia, and of course Steven Gerrard in the team, that you just have to think about making good runs, and the ball will arrive anyway. Of course, and it's exactly what happens. What happened for the game, for my goal. And like you said, after I had to finish well because the ball was good, but I had to put it into the net. So it was a great finish. The kind of goal that I like to score, the kind of movement that I like to do, and thank God he went in and he put us back to the game.
Of course, yeah. And then I think that final was known as the Gerrard final just because of that absolute worldie he's pulled out at the end. I think even for Stevie G, 9 times out of 10, that's out of the stadium. But he's connected with it that one time, and it's absolutely flowing. And he's got a history of doing it again and again and again, hasn't he?
Yeah, you know, I'm the kind of player who like to shoot from every position. Like really, I sometimes I was like, you can't shoot from here, but you know, that was my instinct.
I'm Cisse.
And
I do what I want.
I like to do like, you know, kind of goals like this and kind of strikes and shooting from different positions. But this goal, I was like, to be honest, I don't think I would have tried to shoot. But you know, he's not Steven Gerrard for nothing.
No, of course. If you I don't know if you had a chance to read his autobiography, but he said in there that he only took that shot on because he just had nothing left in his legs. He said he was so tired that he thought if he'd have controlled it and tried to find a pass, he would have messed it up. So he thought, look, I've got this last little bit, I'm just going to hit it. And listen,
I understand.
History.
I understand. I think he's honest. I think that's the truth, to be honest. And you know, when you're tired and you know, because we were down and chasing, you know, to equalize. Sometimes you're not out of I don't know how to say, but you know, out of you know, you say it's your last chance. You know, try it. If we go in, okay. If not, anyway, we you know, it's not gonna change anything. You know, that's if you shoot on the stand, on the last row on the stand. You know, it's what you have to do. But lucky for us, you know, he went bottom corner. And to be honest, I seen some goals, but this one is something.
Of course, yeah. And listen, when you luck's in, you luck's in. I mean, talking about luck, I think that was almost word for word what the commentator said for the Super Cup final for your first goal. And listen, like, take nothing away from you again. Like, you've closed the ball down, you've put your body there, and it's just come off of you. But listen, do you know what made me laugh the most about that? Was that you weren't letting that ball go in on a ricochet. You were putting that in on your own merit.
You never know. Maybe the wind, maybe a wind, maybe something, you know, you never know. You have to secure the goal. Yeah, well, you know, I went to press. I put, you know, a little disturbance in the defense head and the goalkeeper. Lucky he bounced off me, but I think, to be honest, I think he hit my hand a little bit, so he lobbed the goalkeeper, and you know, to make sure I followed the ball.
And then your second goal follows, and then a Peacham assist as well for Garcia, I believe, to make it 3-1.
I think it's Didi.
Was it Didi?
On my second ball, yeah, I think the assist of.
So for your assist, sorry. So when you assisted.
My assist, yeah. Luis Garcia,
yeah.
On the right here.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was your final. It takes 11 players to win a game, and I get that. But I think that one specifically you're quite well remembered for, because I think you came on, if memory serves me right, it was the 82nd minute, I think, or something similar to that. It was quite late on in the
something
game
like that.
Came on.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, on the preseason, I was not bad at all. You know, the final was in France. All my family came because it wasn't far from where I'm born. I'm from the south of France. The final was in Monaco. To be honest, all the signals was here for me to start, and I was on the bench. So on this final, I was disappointed, to be honest, because it was, you know, a lot of things going my way, and at the end, I was on the bench. So I was a little down. But to be honest, I was like, I knew I was gonna come on when that's the manager's decision. I thought maybe 60 to 70th, maybe to have 15 or 20 minutes. But you know, it happened a little bit later on the game. But you know, I had to produce something and to put us back in the game. That's my job. That's what I do, to score goals and to try to make the team win games. So I did my best.
Sure. So we go from the highs then. You have to give me on a time scale. So I think your second leg break, it came, was it the prelude to was it the World Cup or European Championship?
Yeah, World Cup in Germany.
Against China, I believe.
Yeah.
So other leg this time. So it's not even like it's the same leg. It's the right leg this time. You've got to be like thinking, Christ.
Yeah, and the situation was already clear for me. You know, Rafa Benitez told me that he had plans to replace me. So when I went to the World Cup preparation, I already knew that you know, my Liverpool time was counted, and and in my head I wasn't you know, in the best way, because you know, my family, I built a family in Liverpool. I had kids. I bought my house. I felt, you know, really good in Liverpool. So I was really sad to leave, but it was only a loan. So in my head I was like, okay, just, you know, go on loan, show that, you know, you deserve to be there, and you'll be back.
So did you have your club before you went to the World Cup then?
Well, I when Rafa told me that I was ready, he wouldn't let me go. I was, in my head, I always wanted to play for Marseille. That was an obligation for me to play for Marseille, and at the time, everything was okay in Marseille side and Liverpool side for me to go. So yeah, at the end of the preparation, I knew that you know, Marseille gonna be my new team, and I was delighted to, because it was that's my childhood, like, support, the club I support from kids. So I was really happy to go there, but like I said, disappointed to leave Liverpool. So, you know, in my mind, I wasn't really, you know, focused, and you know, things happen for a reason. You know, it's sometimes injuries happen when, you know, you're not in the best mood, and that's exactly what happened.
Of course, yeah. So did you find this one more mentally challenging than the first leg break?
No, to be honest, no, because I knew exactly what happened. I knew the feeling. I knew exactly what you know, what my injury was, and it was easier for me to go all over the process again.
Okay, that's quite interesting, because I thought, with you knowing that you like your career at Liverpool was over, I thought that might have had an impact on it. But listen, again, credit to you. You've got through that. So very mentally strong, I think, is even for an athlete. You can clearly see that.
Yeah, I think that's what helped me achieve the things that I achieved. Because okay, I was super fast. Technically, I wasn't the best. I was really clinical in front of the goal. You know, I know how to score goals. But altogether, I wasn't the best of the team. But mentally, I think I don't know who could beat me, to be honest. Like, in terms of injury happens, like if I don't score for a few games, you know, the criticism from the people, you know, never affect me, and always, you know, I turned the bad things into, I tried it to make it positive.
Sure. I mean, look, we could learn so much from you, mentally wise. I think you're an inspiration to me, especially with me watching you grow up. And I think so many, taken away from like the football, just going into general life, there's so much here that we can take from just dealing with trauma or issues or whatnot. Like it's all on you, isn't it? Like, you have all the outlying factors, but if you want to get better, it's on you. And I think the first thing, which is obviously what you've done straight away, you've owned it. You knew straight away what was going on, and you've owned it, and that's it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all on you. You know, even on the take the football away. Even in my life, you know, things happened. Like, it's not always nice. Sometimes you have issues to deal with, and if you're not strong mentally, you can go down. So to be honest, even in my private life, to be strong in mentally, it helped me a lot.
Of course, yeah. So I mean, Marseille was a great time, but then you found yourself was it Sunderland after that, wasn't it? After Marseille.
After Marseille, yeah, I went on loan in Sunderland.
Yeah. So I've spoken to a few Sunderland supporters, and listen, they adored you. They really liked you.
I love this club. Like,
so did you really enjoy your time at Sunderland?
I love the club. I love the fans. For me, to have a relationship with the fans, it's really, really important. Because when I score, I like to go meet them. I like to go share the feeling with them, and it's exactly what happened. In Sunderland, I was really disappointed when I left, because I in my opinion, I done a lot, to deserve a contract and to deserve to stay in Sunderland, and to show that I'm a good player and I can play in England. They decided not to leave the option, and so I had to go. But to be honest, I was really disappointed, and I know, because I receive a lot of message on Twitter and Instagram and things like this on social medias from the Sunderland fans, and I know that they enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I'm a little sad to see the club went so down, because for me it's a Premier League club. They deserve to be in the Premier League.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think as things started to go downhill, the fan base started to dwindle a little bit, and I don't think that was from a lack of support. I just don't think they could watch the football anymore. I think they just kind of see their club dying from the inside out.
Yeah.
It must be devastating, especially for players who have played for the team. I mean, that was your livelihood. You lived there. You learned to love the club, and to see things like that happening at a time, it can't be nice.
Yeah. It's even me, like I said, I'm not from Sunderland. I'm not born there. I just passed a season, but still, I made friends. I had memories in my head. That Newcastle game, it's always gonna be here. This goal for me, it's special. The atmosphere, I remember like it was yesterday, and I want to see Sunderland back to the Premier League, but it's gonna take time. It's gonna take a lot of work. And the players need the fans to be there too. But I understand on the fans' point of view that they used to see Sunderland playing in the Premier League, and to see the club down like this, it hurts them.
Of course, yeah. No, I totally understand that. We're going through the last few questions now. So just the last football-related ones. You said that, I mean, you had your time through various different clubs, especially towards the end of your career, like QPR and a few others as well. But you've made a lot of friends over the time. I know it's quite well known that you were very good friends with Harry Kewell. I mean, do you guys still keep in touch?
Yeah. Well, not as much as before, but let's say less than a year or less than 6 months ago, I talked to him. We were really, really close. We shared the room together. We were roommates, and he's a guy that I love him. He's my brother, and yeah, it's sometimes you bond with people that you don't think, or you don't even imagine that you can really bound together. But Ari, it's one of them.
Of course, yeah. And I think sometimes you find friendships in the strangest of places, don't you? I mean, it's not to say that you guys couldn't be friends, but I mean, you guys are totally different. Like, he's Australian, you're France, two completely different ends of the spectrum, and you find friends in anyone, don't you? And I think you have to find that bond in football.
Yeah, we had I think fashion brought us together closest to each other, because I loved fashion, he loved fashion, so we spent a lot of time talking about fashion at the time. Then Then we met outside of football. Then we decided to share rooms, and the rest is history. And now he's one of the top 5 friends in football.
Of course, yeah. Oh, that's really nice to hear. Nice to hear. And it's good to, like, I mean, what we're talking, 15, 16 years now, like a friendship that lasts a long time. It's nice to see. It is nice to see. But
well, we lived crazy moments together. So, it's not, they're all my friends, to be honest. I spoke to Stevie a few months ago. There's some guys that I don't speak to each other, but when we met, we're friends. We lived amazing experience together. So I don't know how things could be different. We linked for life with what happened to us. So but I think there's nothing can change that.
No, of course. So just we've got a couple of questions left. So these ones are coming direct from the guys on my group. So they have a couple of questions that they want to ask you. They're not necessarily football related. So brace yourself. They're not too bad, to be fair. So one of the questions is that you had a lot of hairstyles. I think you were quite well known at the time. What was your favorite, and would you go back to any of them?
I think that the one who suit me and represent me, I think it's the blonde hair and the blonde beard.
Yeah, you're well known for that one.
That's me.
Do you regret any of them?
No, of course not. No. When I do things, that means that I want to do them, and sometimes I look at them, I say, yeah, it's I laugh at it, but it's not like I don't regret.
Sure, no, good answer. What's the weirdest thing you've ever signed?
Boobs.
Have you? Do you know what? I had it in my head. I thought if he says boobs, that's going to be brilliant. But I didn't actually think you would have. That's brilliant. So where was that?
I'm honest. You ask me, I answer.
So where was that? Was that when you was at Liverpool? Or was that elsewhere?
No, I don't remember where I was playing, but it was the scene happened in Saint-Tropez.
Blimey.
The girl came and asked me for an autograph. I said, yeah, you need a paper. Do you have a paper and a pen? She said, I have the pen and I want you to sign. It wasn't like she didn't, so I just signed.
I'm not asking questions.
Yeah, so yeah, it happened.
Oh, amazing. It's a bit of a waste though, because it washes out afterwards, doesn't it?
I don't know what happened next, but
I've got it tattooed on there, you never know. It probably happens a lot more than what you think as well.
Yeah. I think so. I think if you ask some like Cristianos or things like this, I think that I think crazy things happen or not happen, but they've been asked for silly things. I'm sure.
Of course, yeah. So obviously being Lord of the Mayor of Frodsham, do you get any benefits with that?
No. Just when I bought the house, the title came with the house, so it was just something like it was just fun.
Please tell me you get a post addressed to you saying Lord Djibril Cisse.
To be honest, I don't remember, but I'm sure that it happened. I'm sure
that'd be amazing.
Once.
That'd be amazing. Do you know what you should have done? Is when you started, when you're still playing, you should have made sure that the announcements are like Lord Djibril Cisse. That'd have been fantastic. You'd have gone down in history.
That'd be great. Or put Lord on my back.
Yeah, that would have been amazing. That'd have been so funny. Yeah. Just the last one then. So last one from me, and then last one from the fans. We'll do the fans first. They want to know who the toughest player you ever played against is.
I have to say Lilian Thuram at the time. He was something. He was something. But I played again, of course, Juventus. Then at the training ground with the national team, he was really, really, really tough. Really tough guy. And you didn't want to mess with him.
I'll tell you what, instead of asking mine, I'll ask this one because this one's quite a good one. So a lot of the traditional football now is 4-3-3. Yeah. So 3 at the top. If you could pick any front 3 over the last 15 to 20 years, who would you pick?
15 to 20 years. Jean-Pierre Papin. I think it's the time, yeah. 20, I was 20. No, Jean-Pierre stopped. No, Jean-Pierre Papin don't work. Thierry Henry. No, I'm not. No, of course not. I've got respect for me, and there's better players than me, so I can do that. So Thierry Henry, that's a tough question, Yeah. Samuel Eto'o was not too bad. Can I put Zidane on top on
You
front?
can do what you want. It's your team.
Yeah, Zidane, Henry, and Samuel Eto'o. Yeah.
It's a strong team. And do you know what? You bring up Mr. Dan, just the last one on him. Do you know what? I think you could have played him in goal and he still would have performed. He was just a sensational player, wasn't he?
Team player.
Sure, yeah. Listen, Djibril, that wraps everything up. You've been a fantastic guest. You've given us a great insight into football and into like mental resilience as well. Credit goes to you. You've helped us learn a lot. All the best with your future endeavours. And hopefully we'll meet soon and speak soon.
Of course.